I look outside the window and watch the officers stroll the bars of the prisons, holding their guns close to their hips and their prejudiced closer to their hearts. I turn away from the window and fear the officers might see my gaze. I turn to face the room I've been trying to spend, trapped within my tiny space. For my own good, they say. I look back outside the window and see the officers have stopped the boy who was trying to escape from the bars of the prison. Doesn't he know escape is futile? I turn back and look towards the front of the classroom and stare my teacher straight in the face. Oh well, I say to myself, just another day in the Los Angeles Unified School District. In our public educational school districts across the nation, youth of color, youth from the lower economic statuses, queer and trans youth, and any sort of youth from any sort of marginalized community are being pushed out from educational institutions and thrown into juvenile hall, continuation school, or the prison system itself. But why do we use the term prison industrial complex? It's very simple. Think of those targeted by the prison industrial complex, if you will, as a part of an industry, similar to the meat industry. Think of these people who are being pushed out of schools as meat. And institutions of education, the conveyor belt in which they take this meat and throw it into the institution for free labor, that is pretty much no different and very much comparable to times of slavery in the 1800s. In fact, there are more black men in prison now than there were slaves back in the time that we had slavery. In many urban communities, half of the people of color have criminal records. And because of that, they therefore are subjugated to legalized oppression from the government. Let's say you want to get a job out of prison. Let's say you're that one person who gets that job out of prison. You work really hard, but you have that felony. Up to 100% of your earnings can be taken and paid back to the prison system because of that. So what does that have to do with what we're doing today, how we get here? How do institutions of education push out these youth? Very simple. Through educational codes and policies. One of them is tracking. Look around you today. Think about our university. Think about UC Santa Cruz. How many Black, Latino, API, how many faces of color do you see on campus as compared to the white counterpart? How many queer students on campus do you see as compared to their heterosexual, heteronormative counterparts? There's a reason why these bodies are not here on campus. Educational institutions utilize policies within their codes, within their districts, whether it be through the state or the nation, and push out these youth. So let me give you a concrete example. I'll give you something that was done in LAUSD, the Los Angeles Unified School District, the largest school district in all of California. And so anything that they do sets a large example to all other school districts in the state of California. In Los Angeles Unified School District, they have been sending out what they call truancy tickets to students who have been coming to school tardy and not on time. Now, usually, these types of tickets were given out to students of color and students from the lower economic statuses because these were the students walking to school, taking the bus. These students were being directly targeted by the police on campus. And yes, I say police because in these school districts, you find you have more police and military recruiters than school counselors.
on these campuses. So after getting so many tickets and building up so many fines because, as each ticket increases, the fine increases as well, students either can't pay these fees or don't care anymore and don't want to come to school. And once they're on the streets, they're subject to the war on drugs, or maybe some queer youth and trans youth turn to sex work, which is a very dangerous field on so many levels. But we begin to see how institutions of education essentially harness these different institutions of oppression and systems of power that govern our society to make higher education, to make higher learning a place in which those who are marginalized don't have a voice at the table. So how does that work with our staff and faculty? Well, if you don't have an education, where are you going to be? Why is it that we have this unequal division of labor between our races? Why is it that the classes that are doing a lot of the work that conservatives either don't appreciate or see as, how should I call it, unnecessary? A lot of that work actually, one, keeps our taxes very low. A lot of people don't know that. But two, the reason why that is because these institutions don't make it so that people of color, poor people from these economic statuses, to have an ability to resources. There is no equal playing field within the institution of education. It does not exist. It never has, and at this rate it won't currently. With current policies such as willful defiance in our school districts, teachers can simply dismiss you for being defiant without any type of reasoning why. Now within California, a recent law was just passed to change this, to give more language to willful defiance, to restructure it. But California is one state. We must think not only locally, but globally as well. We must think about the nation, the country, the world, the impact that the U.S. and U.S. imperialism and U.S. liberal values have on the rest of the world, and the example that our institutions of education set in making up who makes education, who makes the books, who makes history, who makes essentially everything in our society. So, with that, I'm going to give it over to my partner, Jack. So thank you for that.